I'm Tia Borden with MiningIR, and beside me is Peter Espig, CEO of Nicola Mining. We've sat down before lots of times. We've had some chats, and it's always a pleasure. You have such an interesting background, and we have to tell our audience how you transitioned in mining, because you had started investment banking on Wall Street for Goldman Sachs, and you had a full-on career in that industry. How did you transition to mining?
After Columbia Business School, I started working in investment banking. I worked for 3 different firms, including Goldman Sachs, and worked in New York, then Tokyo, also Singapore. And after Goldman, when I left Goldman, I did 2 SPACs. So I was one of the more in the pioneer side of the SPAC movement. And in 2009, retired. And then I moved to Vancouver, and the opportunity came up at that time, the company was called Halder Silver. And I was approached to take over the role of CEO. And I kind of thought it was like a fortuitous full circle of my life, because when I was in high school, all the way through university at UBC, I spent 8 years working on the drill rigs. So went from being a diamond driller to the CEO of a mining company. So I'm one of the CEOs that can pick up pipe wrenches and run machinery and skidders, and at the same time, I can structure transactions.
So there was some skills that you were able to transfer over, and you did have the mining, background from childhood, I guess, or
the mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Nicola?
Yeah. So Nicola, we're BC based. We're listed on the TSX and the Frankfurt and the OTC, and really we have 4 key assets. But first of all, what I'd say, what makes us unique is we're cash flow positive. So we're a company that generates revenues and positive cash flow, and we're able to use that cash flow for our exploration. Now, we have 4 main assets. The first is the historic Craigmont mine, which is a copper asset. And it's very unique because the Craigmont mine is the highest grade copper mine in the history of North America, and we're beside Highland Valley, which is the largest copper mine in the history of Canada. And it's largely unexplored. So next year, we've got a robust program. The second asset that we have is the mill, and the Merritt mill is the site where we produce gold and silver concentrate. We also have a rock quarry, a gravel pit, and we utilize soil for our reclamation, which is also a revenue stream. And so we've been very focused on getting revenues to drive the exploration. And then we have a fully permitted silver mine at Treasure Mountain that we could reopen, but really the upside is exploration. And then finally, we have a 75% economic interest in Dominion Property and Dominion Gold. And that's very unique because it's very, very high grade, small pod. But in 2022, in December, we applied for a bulk sample permit, and hopefully we'll see that we'll be able to do something on that next year.
So you have a lot on the go with these 4 projects. What are you looking forward to in the coming year?
Yeah, so this year we spent quite a bit of time with Nitetsu Mining at our site, and we put together a program for next year, and that includes IP and then more exploration drilling for both skarn copper and porphyry copper system. And we have news coming out on the exploration program from 2023, but we're very excited about next year because we believe that there's huge upside in the Craigmont copper project.
And are there any risks or challenges that you're currently facing? And if so, what are you doing to mitigate them?
I mean, there's always risks in mining because you can't see what's below. So, getting back to the point I made, the key point in mining to be efficient or effective is to minimize the risk. So when it comes to, for example, like the diamond drilling next year, we've done a Z-TEM survey, electromagnetic survey, soil sampling, but we have a cover over the property, which makes that difficult, but we're now doing IP. So what's exciting is that you can superimpose the electromagnetic with this Z-TEM and with the IP survey, and it all matches. So it really allows us to streamline where we want to drill, and that mitigates risk.
Now, what are you doing in terms of ESG and partnerships with First Nations?
That's a very unique question, and I often, I don't want to say I struggle with it, but I think that ESG should always have been part and always has been part of our platform. So that's, the sudden popularity, the acronym ESG, like it's like, what does it mean? And it should always be part of your business, right? So we've always honored the environment, sustainability, and governance. And governance is, a core concept that we embrace in Nicola. So, but getting to the point of the Indigenous partnership. So we actually have our gravel pit and our rock quarry and is done in a partnership with LNSS, which is an affiliate company of LNIB. So that's a pure partnership with First Nations. And then when it comes to the testing, and I think part of it, ESG is not only what you do, but it's how you're able to explain that or be transparent to the community. So you can have ESG, but if you're not transparent, the community doesn't know. So we, for example, like our water testing and our soil testing on our site is done by an affiliate company of a tribal council. And that way we don't only do ESG, but they know that we're doing ESG and they're aware of it. So it's that communication between the company and the community that is very important as well.
Now, touching on communication, it's of course important to communicate with the community, but what are you also doing to communicate and be transparent with your investors?
Well, we've always been transparent with our investors. So, and that, recently we had a news that obviously the market viewed as negative, and rather than sugarcoating it, we said, look, we signed an LOI with Nitetsu, and that's been suspended, but it's not canceled, it's suspended because there is not enough information to do a mapping on the site. So next year, that's one of the things that we're going to do. We'll do IP survey, and we'll continue to be transparent to our shareholders. And look, I'm a shareholder myself, and the chairman, and the people involved in the company. Like the insiders have over 30% of the company, and we paid for that in the market. It's not something that was part of an earn-in or something. So if you look at the top 8 shareholders of Nicola Mining, it's about 65% ownership of the company.
Now, Peter, you've had a great year, but there seems to be a bit of pressure around your share price recently. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. So, I mean, it is somewhat disheartening because we've had such a great year. We've had positive cash flow, had great exploration. We were milling. We've done so much good. We're very happy with the exploration program. But the market is the market, and so we're flat on the year, but we're down over the past, from 2 months ago. So we'll see. I think that next year we'll rebound and we'll be back where we are now.
You have lots to look forward to in the coming years. Is there any last messaging that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, just keep following us. This is a very exciting project. I mean, it's hard to comprehend that you have a copper asset that is adjacent to the largest copper mine in Canada, that is the highest grade copper mine in the history of North America, that is largely unexplored. And so we're going to be out there, and we're going to be boring, and we're going to be digging, and we're going to prove this up.
Lots to look forward to. Congratulations on the success that you've had so far. Always a pleasure to sit down with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Peter.